What up, Al?
Hello, Yennefer.
How's it going?
It's going. It's Tuesday for us, Friday for y'all.
Happy Tuesday, Friday. My
Happy-
favorite day of the week.
To fry.
Yeah.
To fry.
Love that.
Love that.
What's
How's-
new?
Floods,
Yeah.
lots of rain.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm really just hoping that everybody, including myself and you, can start enjoying the beach this summer.
Oh, I love that.
I have been craving Coney Island, a chili dog on
What's
the
that?
beach. Coney Island, it's like almost reminds me of Fair Food, but it's a little business in downtown Duluth.
Ah.
Yeah. During one of my boyfriend and I's first dates, he took his nature lounger, which is basically like a sofa,
Uh-huh.
and you run and fill it up with air, like the wind, and then
Yeah.
you kind of roll it up and clip it, and it stays inflated. So he took me to the beach with that on one of our first dates, and then we went and got Coney Island chili dogs,
I love that for you
and he put his
guys.
arm around me for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so we're not just friends. This is amazing.
Well, did that tell you weren't just friends?
Yes.
Or was it the chili dog? Or was it the blow-up couch?
Honestly,
All of it.
maybe they were all signs, and the fact that they all came in one night, I was like, damn,
Wow.
this is
I love
serious.
It. I love it.
We're already dating.
You know what? I really appreciate you sharing that part of your life and that little snippet of your whatever date that was, one of your first. We never talk about things like this. So
No.
that's fun. I love it.
Yeah, but don't tell anybody, you guys.
Oh, secret. Secret. I just cupped the mic.
Jen's been wanting to actually hold her microphone, and I wasn't looking. I was just looking down at my notes being like, yeah, you can hold it the whole episode. That's fine. And then I look up and she's literally like grabbing the like, what would you call that? The styrofoam or
like the foam on
the
top.
foam of the microphone. I was like, maybe we'd receive slight feedback potentially. But
You know, I'm receptive to feedback and
Yeah.
change.
don't change.
Should we get this episode started?
Yeah, but never change. I'm fine with long intros.
Me too.
I don't see a problem with it.
It's going to be a fun episode.
If people click off,
Sorry.
waste of our time.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
missing out.
I think we should wait. What's new with you though?
Nothing.
That's cool.
Just here, I'm vibing.
I dig it. Okay, great. Should I disclaim?
I would love that.
Alrighty. Wait, first of all, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about working remotely and how it impacts mental health. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
It's a hot topic.
It is a good topic.
Yeah.
So disclaimer with that. These are our opinions. We always say that every single episode. I feel very strongly about this topic because I've seen a lot of healthy benefits come from it. For me personally, I know Jen's going to speak on that too. Please respect our opinions. Just because our opinion may be different than yours, and as an employer or as an employee, you may think that working remote doesn't work and it's not necessary and it's straying from tradition. Whatever that may be, Jen and I respect that coming from you. So if ours is the opposite, please respect that back.
Exactly. Everyone's got opinions. You said we say that every week. We
Yeah.
do. But also, at the same time, you clicked on this Spotify link or YouTube link for a reason. So clearly you want to hear our opinions.
Yeah.
So
And I believe we have a ton of experience that give us pretty solid opinions.
I
So
would
just
agree.
know that it's not just like coming out of our butts.
it might be.
Well, that's for another episode. Anyways, without a further zoo, sorry, that was from one of my other favorite podcasts, The Toast.
Oh, I
That's
love
what they
that.
go. Without a further zoo, take it away.
I
Yen.
will. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Okay, hey people. I'm actually really excited about this topic today because, like Alex was saying, I also have a lot of personal experience with this. For those who don't know me, or if this is your first episode that you're listening to, or if you haven't listened to episodes before this, hello. I'm Jen. I'm a graphic designer and I work for a university in Wisconsin. My position is hybrid, which, if you don't know what that means, I'm half remote and half in person. And if you want to know specifics, my in-person days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week, and my remote days are Tuesday, Thursday. So it's kind of nice having a set schedule. I can't really speak for what working full-time remotely does for my mental health or being in person for the full-time, but I would like to share some personal experience from working in this hybrid position. Granted, this is and was, for maybe in the future, I don't know, my first job graduating after college, so I don't really have much to compare it to, but here we are. Let's just have a
Comparing
chat.
it anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'll dish my life story for a bit. So, for me, working remotely is great, in all caps, for my mental health. Being able to work at home Tuesday and Thursday every week is honestly a blessing. I get to sleep in a little longer, which is great. And I get to work in my PJs. Who doesn't want to do that?
Ooh, PJ working.
It's every Tuesday, Thursday. I'm always in my jammies.
Yeah. Working from home is like slippers on.
Yeah.
I'm brushing my teeth. That's it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I always have a blankie too. Like I just chill in my chair, hang out.
That's
It's
the
a fun
best.
time. Tuesday and Thursday every week, and I'll get into it later, but I have some flexibility with the days too. Working remotely every Tuesday and Thursday allows me for a lot more flexibility in my personal life, my work schedule, and a bunch of other things as well. But I feel like my stress levels are down quite a bit, and I have a much better work-life balance. At my current position, my remote days are set every week, but if need be, I can switch the days for appointments or family emergencies. Like I actually had one last week, so I was able to switch my remote days, which was really nice. It's so nice, and it's a great perk of my current workplace, and I'm sure other ones as well. My boss is super flexible. Shout out Sarah if you're listening. You're G.
Sarah.
Yeah, and Heidi. Shout out both of the ladies.
Oh, yes, Heidi. We love her. We've
Yeah.
talked about her quite a bit here. So,
Side note, I love my job and I love my bosses. So, anyways, my boss is super flexible and understanding. If something comes up, we can work remotely or honestly whenever needed. And yeah, that's like one of my favorite perks of this position. They're so flexible, and being remote is definitely a huge factor in that. It takes away so much stress. Like I said, I had a family emergency last week, and just sending a simple message on Teams being like, hey, I've got stuff going on, here's the situation, and her being so responsive and like, yep, whatever you need, take the time, you can be remote, whatever you feel is best. It's A, nice being remote, but it's B, nice having people who have your back like that as well and understand that shit happens. So here are some more of the perks. I have like 5 or 6 of my favorite things about working remotely.
can I ask a question
Yeah.
before you get into that?
Mhm.
With family emergencies or with things similar to that,
Yeah.
and being able to just reach out and talk to your team, did you ever find it like intimidating or that you were worried about it? Or do you feel like the culture of your office when you're in there has kind of prepared you
Yeah.
for being comfortable to approach that? Because I could see some people maybe postponing like reaching out and asking
Sure.
for the time off because they're not sure, or if you want to
Yeah.
talk about that.
I mean, I would say the latter of the two, the environment my coworkers create in our office and online obviously too is just so friendly and welcoming. Like obviously they're my coworkers, but at the same time they're genuinely like my friends too, I would
Yeah.
say, and that's really nice. But I don't know. Going back to your question, not how nice my coworkers are, but going back to that, I feel like I was probably nervous for like the first couple weeks, maybe month, but they've never shown any sign of like a hostile work environment or being upset that you have to switch your remote days or like literally any situation, not just working remotely. They're
Yeah.
so supportive and understanding of. So
Cool.
I was able to like see that pretty early on. I mean, I haven't even been there a year, so it's still pretty early on, but
Yeah.
I was able to see that fairly quickly and be like, okay, like I don't need to worry about these types of things. Whatever I need, like they'll understand, which is
Right.
great.
And the reason why I bring that up is because I want people to hear from you. This is your first job.
Yeah.
I think that there is some type of lore saying that that's unattainable, that that's not normal to have a team that's supportive, that allows you to make changes, because I feel like from the choices that I gave you, like, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel uncomfortable? You said you feel comfortable. I feel like the opposite is very typical of
Yeah.
a traditional workplace of working in person and having to work around other people's schedules. And I just want people out there to know, like,
Yeah.
it's attainable. It's all about the effort that your team and the business you work for, that they want to pour back into you. So
Right.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But
me too.
continue, please.
Here are more things that I enjoy about working remotely and why it's so good for my mental health. Probably the second one after flexibility would be getting stuff done around the house. We all need little breaks, okay? I'm not ashamed to admit that I need to step away from my computer every once in a while. Whether it's like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or however long. When I work remotely, I can do things around my apartment for a break. So if I'm doing laundry, I can take care of some dishes that I either need to put away or put in the dishwasher. This is kind of a weird one, probably specific to me, but I have back issues, like back and hip issues. So when I'm at home, I feel more comfortable to like get on the floor and stretch or like do the weird movements to like
you
crack
can't really
my
like
back.
casually do that at the office.
No, and like as much as I would say I could, I have like a separate office from everyone, but it's okay, so there's 2 cubicles in my office. The one that's like across from me is the break room area, which people can't see like if you're not
Yeah.
in the room, so I could go on the floor over there. But it would be my luck that somebody's like coming in to make a cup of coffee or
Right.
something, and I'm just like on the
Hey.
floor cracking the shit out of my
You
back.
can just step right over me.
Oh, just ignore me. I'm in a lot of pain.
Oh, there's more coffee filters in the cabinet. Here, let me just
Actually,
get
you
that
want to
for
step
ya.
on my back for me?
Oh, seriously.
Yeah, right?
I love that.
Anyways, so I can be more productive at home, and even if it's just for a couple minutes, it's nice to just take a second and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my productivity levels have gone up as well, and obviously I can't compare it to much because this is my first job, but even in college too, which I can get into, I find I'm more productive in my home. I live alone. I'm in my little studio still. So it's always really quiet and I can really do as I please. Like if I want to have music on, which generally I always have either my AirPods or like a vinyl playing in the background, I can do that. I can play my music however loud I want. I can play our podcast because, yeah, I listen to our podcast. I want to make sure I sound good or whatever. I don't have to worry about what I'm playing. And I feel like I can just get so much more done. Like I'm by myself. All I have to do is like zone in on my computer. I love socializing with my coworkers when I'm in person too. Like I'm not just at my desk 24/7, but
Mm-hmm.
on the remote days, I feel like I just get so much more done because I don't have to worry about socializing or things like that, which I still love socializing. I love chatting. We know this.
Mhm.
But it's nice to have specific days set aside to just be by myself and really zone in and get shit done. Another one would be eliminating the commute. For me, this is really ironic, but I'm still going to mention it. In my current position, I literally live across the street. It is a 5-minute walk to my workplace, which is great. But for some people in my department, it adds 2 hours back into their day. I have a couple coworkers, actually, a lot of my coworkers live like 45 minutes to an hour away, one way.
Where do they live?
There's 2 that live in Cromwell. And
Is
there's
that Wisconsin?
No, that's Minnesota. It's like on the way like to
Oh.
the cities. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's one that lives in Minong, which is like 45 minutes into Wisconsin. So
Jeez.
I know they've got a long route, and I know it's nice for them too, being remote a couple days a week because it's adding so much time back into their schedule. That's 4 more hours that they can be in their home and
Yeah.
do whatever they need or run to the store,
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. For other people, it adds time back into their day, and even for me too, like not having to get up early and drive to work or get up earlier to walk to work if it's a nice day. That time can be used for cooking a healthy meal, working out, self-care, or even just simply spending more time with family, which who would complain about that?
Not I, said the fly.
I know, me too.
Mm-mm.
I love my family. This kind of goes into that, but I'm definitely able to build more time in for myself. My schedule is busy. I'm a busy lady. I get a lot done, and I work really hard.
She's working late because she's a
'Cause
graphic
I'm a
designer.
I love that for us.
That was good.
Yeah. Especially being the only designer for much of the bulk work in my department, which I've talked about this before. There's one other designer, but he works on like the continuing education stuff, which we don't need to dive into today. But I'm pretty much the main designer for everything, and I usually don't have a ton of free time. Some days are slower than others, but generally, I'm so fucking busy. And by working remotely a few days a week, I can sleep in a little bit longer, spend more time making healthy food to nourish and reset my body. I have more time to do some exercise. The list honestly just goes on for me, and all of that boosts mental health so much. How can it not? I actually have time to make a good dinner and not just heat up like mac and cheese or whatever, or like chicken tenders. Dino nugs.
Yeah, I was. Don't get me started on Dino Nugs.
Nothing wrong with
Those
Dino
are
Nugs.
a staple
They're a
in
godsend.
the Alex Harem
I
household.
feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I will mention too, especially about the food, that is one of the biggest differences I have noticed. It's like, even if I don't get the opportunity to cook for myself,
Mhm.
which I typically do, which I love, because I do remember buying groceries and pretty much only being able to go through those groceries for dinner and breakfast on the weekend. And a lot of the time my food would spoil and I would pare back a lot, but it's almost like I'm just never there.
Right.
So it's really hard to keep, the essential items in your fridge without having them go bad because
Yeah.
you're just not able to use them.
Mhm.
But it also gives me the flexibility to take my time and go out and pick something up. Or if I want to go eat at a restaurant, like I'm not trying to squeeze it in within that like
Right.
1 hour period
Absolutely.
most of the time.
That's a good point. And I mean, you can nourish your body however you want. If you like cooking, do that. That's really something that helps my mental health, I feel. So I love that I can work remotely. And this is another point I forgot to write down. When I work remotely, I can like make my own lunch at home and be healthier that way too, which
Yeah.
I just love.
And exercise as well. I just know so many people who like to play hockey
Mhm.
on lunchtime. I have no idea how they, within an hour, would drive to the rink, get dressed, go on the ice for 45 minutes, get out,
Yeah.
all sweaty and gross, maybe shower, but probably not, and then go back to the office and continue working. I have no idea how that's even
I
possible.
don't either.
And I just even think about people who go to the gym. It's like, it's so hard putting in all these things into life as it is. So having a little extra time
Yeah.
what is legally given to you is great.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
That's really about all I have. I didn't say specifically like, oh, this boosts my mental health, but everything that I've mentioned are A, things that I'm passionate about, and B, things that aid into kind of boosting mental health, I would say, especially what we were just talking about, like being able to exercise, being able to go to the grocery store, just having the flexibility to do whatever you want and not really feel uber rushed about things. You have a little bit more time back is awesome. Overall, do I think mental health is positively impacted by working remotely? Yes, I do. Do I still think there's a need to be in office every so often? Sure. Like I mentioned earlier, I freaking love my coworkers. I love being able to see them in office or go grab lunch. We do that on Fridays occasionally. But I also love the flexibility that comes with working in a hybrid position. And I mean, if I were to pick, like, if I had to work fully remote or fully in person right now, I don't know what I would say because I genuinely enjoy my hybrid position so much. So nobody ever take that away from me, please.
My fingers are crossed for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No
Yeah.
problem. All right. Well, thanks, Jen.
Yeah. Take it away, Al.
I do want to start off by saying that I am really loving the shift in work culture from, your traditional workplace, 40 hours a week at your desk, into those hybrid positions. And I love that it's becoming more common in the workplace because I just think that it's absolutely crucial for people to have a little bit of independence from where you're working And I feel like it's actually more beneficial for the company itself. I feel like, generally speaking, when the company looks at hybrid or fully remote positions, they think it's taking away from the company. I think that it's probably more beneficial for the company than it is for the employee.
Yeah.
So I do want to tackle this topic more from like a pros and cons standpoint. And I will start off with the cons because I can really only think of one like overarching thing. There's obviously a lot of things under this one con that would trickle down from it. So I won't get into too many specifics, but I personally have worked in many different various types of office settings. I mean, I've been an admin in 3 different types of career paths. I did medical, financial, and law. Those could not be more different from each other. But again, like very strict on being like, as an admin, you have to be here. And that's where I would say that is crucial to have somebody, because if you're taking, I mean, it's not like you can welcome somebody for an appointment of a lawyer or a doctor or somebody that you're working for and be like, remotely or through the computer, be like, hey, welcome to your appointment. Please have a seat. As I'm just like pointing to the seat through the computer screen. It's just not realistic. So I do understand that there is going to be same thing with doctors. Like when COVID happened, yes, they were doing appointments virtually, but a lot of things cannot be assessed properly and done. You can't x-ray virtually, like there are just things that require being in person. So I get that. But I do feel that whether it's hybrid like Jen or full-time, if you're in the office, I do think that it's extremely beneficial for business dynamics and building rapport amongst your team. I mean, as Jen said, she loves her coworkers. I feel like that is to have good team building and to make sure that you guys are working harmoniously and synchronizing appropriately. I think if you're working together with a big team, that is really crucial. Or at least with hybrid, you have certain set days during the week where you get together and then others where you're able to work,
right?
So since I only work with my dad, most of the time I am alone because I very much have learned about myself to be productive. I need to be where I feel like my mood fits that day. So sometimes it's at home. I put on the fireplace, turn on the AC so I can have the fireplace on because it's summer. I just find it so cozy when I work in cozy environments, quiet environments sometimes like that. I don't have anyone else at home. Rarely would I turn on music. I've actually really grown to like peace and quiet, not having podcasts or music on when I wake up, just having dead silence. But sometimes I want that. Sometimes I need a little bit of background noise, so I'll go into 190 and I'll work there. So this is coming from somebody who almost always works remote, or if not, I am working at the shop with my father. That is one other person, pretty much. And then Pepper, our family dog.
Love Pepper.
She's the best. She is the only coworker besides my dad, probably, that I would miss dearly if I could never see her. So if she counts, then maybe working remote isn't the best option for me. But because I don't have coworkers or colleagues to chat with during the day, to make those connections with and to potentially build a friendship off of and do things outside of work, I have found it very hard to meet women my age without, the connection that an office or in-person job could provide. And I do feel like for mental health specifically, that has been a challenge since I've moved here, that I haven't been able to make those connections and additional friendships. So it can sometimes feel isolating and a little lonely. However, again, in conjunction, the pro is the flexibility and all of the other pros that do benefit my mental health. So unfortunately, that is one caveat that I'm like, oh, this really sucks. But it just means that I need to find alternative ways and do something else about it to kind of fill in that void. So I love that you love your coworkers and you have great coworkers. And I'm really happy that we had interns with Jen, because she is the only other person I've worked with here besides my dad within the Pop and Dot realm.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that.
I loved it.
So I want to talk about the pros I've talked about this before on our podcast, but I truly do believe, or I almost caught myself there. I repeat, do not believe in a 40-hour work week. Oh my gosh, I was so casual about making that mistake. I was like, oh my God, I love 40-hour work weeks. Please make me work more. No.
No.
No, ma'am. We work to live, not live to work.
Yes.
Yes. We work to live. We need to have more living, less working. Because we only have one life.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you can't take your money and your work with you when you die. Just
Right.
the memories outside of it.
Oh,
You know?
it's like I have Gandhi next to me.
Thank you. You know what? That should not be put on a t-shirt. It should be embroidered into a pillow.
Put that
into
on
a
my
little
gravestone.
accent pillow. Yeah, okay. I like
Two
that.
extremes, like a little pillow and a gravestone.
To each their own?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I don't believe in this, I also don't believe in an 8-hour workday with only an hour for lunch. This is speaking on full-time positions, not part-time. But I do have a gripe with part-time positions because that technically means you can work 39 hours a week and it still be considered part-time, which means basically that the business or company you work for is technically not required to provide you with more than 30-minute lunches, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because if you think between the 1 hour of your whole week, that is a deciding factor between 30 minutes and 1 hour for a break.
That's ridiculous.
It is so sad. Like when you say it quite frank like that, how are more people not questioning that system?
No kidding.
You know? Also legally, you are allowed 10-minute breaks every 2 hours, but that's silly. So you have to work hard for 2 hours straight before you can even rest for 10 minutes is technically what the law says.
Yeah.
Are we working 2 hours hard straight? Probably not. Like Jen said, that there's moments of hanging out, talking to your coworkers,
Yeah.
dilly-dallying.
Love that. Shenanigans.
It's shenanigans, exactly. But you want to know what? We do that because we're so burnt out within the task we're given that we physically have to take that
Right.
break. Mentally, we have to take the break. So, in my opinion, I do think that the ratio is pretty off.
I would agree completely. Why haven't we thought about this before?
Well, we as a society, or
Yeah,
we
we
as a
think.
world have, I think that we have thought about that. You see other countries enforcing a 4-day work week and kind of
Right.
changing things up a little bit. But I think that the U.S. is so corrupt and so focused on the wrong things, and we're so convinced that we're doing the right things that we're not willing to see other perspectives as a whole. And that goes outside of government. I just think companies in general, we only refer to other U.S. companies and other U.S. companies that have monetary success and are holding that as like the pinnacle
standard,
of what we
yeah.
should be following. And it's like, just because they're making a lot of money doesn't mean that their employees are happy. Doesn't mean that they don't have HR issues. Doesn't mean that they're not overworking people. Like, just because you see what you think is successful does not mean that it is. And I
Right.
think a lot of that has to do with the way that the workplace treats their employees.
I would agree completely.
And the reason that I do believe that 8-hour workdays are ridiculous is because no one is actually actively working those 8 hours anyways. You are not seeing somebody typing up emails 8 hours straight, maybe with an hour break in between those.
Yeah.
So 4-hour chunks, right?
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
We'd be zombies.
I was smiling and laughing over here because I was going to say, Heidi, if you're listening, I definitely work the all 8 hours of the day. I've never dilly-dallied once.
No.
No,
But
we
also,
dilly-dally.
Heidi knows that it's just not realistic. See,
Right.
that's the thing is, I had a boss once, and I've talked about her before, not naming names, not going to name the job. However, there was a time where she wanted us to write down every minute. So 8 times 60 seconds. I'm not going to, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not, or 60 minutes. I'm not going to do that, okay? Because I'm not a math girl. I just said 60 seconds when I should have said 60 minutes. You really want me to do that math? Nope.
Nope.
So she wanted me minute by minute to write out my day. Same thing with all my other coworkers. It wasn't just me, because otherwise it would have been like, I would have taken that personally,
Yeah.
you know? But she wanted the whole office, which was 4 or 5 of us, I believe, to write out our whole day, what we were doing in increments. Like, oh, from 8:10 to 8:30, like this is what I did, because she wanted to see how efficient we were being. And if not, how we could efficiently use our time better.
My jaw is on the floor, Al.
Ma'am, that's crazy. I don't owe you that.
That feels illegal.
It probably is, but I'm sure she maybe learned it from some other management saying like, this is so good for your team. And it's just like, it's almost like marketing for the marketer. She bought it wherever she heard it from, or even if she thought it herself. Like, not every idea that comes to you or that you hear should be enforced.
No.
Some should just trickle off and go to the back of your mind and never come to the surface again.
Put that shit in the folder of shame.
Yeah. I have a lot of ideas. I just said this to my boyfriend today, but it doesn't mean they're all good ideas. No. Even if I feel very passionate about them at the beginning, you got to take a deep breath and say, hey, that wasn't it.
I feel that.
Have another one.
Try again.
Yeah. So I think about the tasks that you're completing for work. Once you finish it, you're going to go to the bathroom. You're going to run to the break room, make some coffee, or like Jen was saying, stop next door, socialize with the coworkers, see what they're doing. How was your weekend? Oh, your little guy was sick last week. Is he feeling better? Like, that is normal. You cannot avoid that.
Right.
If you care about other human beings, socializing and talking to them is going to be innate. Yeah. You cannot avoid that. So not only that, but that could be 10 to 15 minutes. I just want to put that in there, that's on the low side. There have been times that I've talked to my coworkers for 20 to 30. I'm like, damn, we need to get back to work.
We got to go.
But guess what? Still get my stuff done.
Yeah.
They still do too. And, maybe you're having a bathroom emergency. Sorry.
It happens.
The coffee was coffeeing. I got to go. 20 minutes later. Couldn't respond to emails there.
That's so real.
Yeah, it is real.
It is.
Coffee makes you poop. Sorry. Makes you pee too. Someone had to say it. Sometimes I prefer a little staring into space to unwind from organizing and responding to emails too, because think about how often people say, I hope this email finds you well, and it finds you incredibly unwell. I'm unwell. Wish you didn't find me. So sometimes I just need a little blankety blank space to just zone out, not blink, and let my eyes get dry.
Feel that.
Yeah. So my point is, no one is working 8 hours straight. Working home allows you to take breaks whenever you see fit, whenever you feel. Breaks, when you're working, you feel that shit. You say, I got to step away. A lot of the time too with design work, it is better for our work. Because when we're designing something and we're trying to creatively problem solve, we're like, I have tried so many things. Why isn't this looking good? Why isn't it solving the problem? It has been known for even just artists in general, when you step away from your work, I would even bet to say anybody else, accounting, a doctor trying to solve a world disease, I bet you if they just stepped away from their shit and had some time for themselves, they're able to do their job better and come back with fresh perspective. And then whenever you mentally need to hold space for yourself, that is the beauty of working at home. As long as your work is getting done, that's what should matter. Office workspaces can cross boundaries, I believe, and begin very toxic habits that you wouldn't even think about if you were working at home. And toxic habits are extremely hard to get rid of.
Oh my God, yeah.
Bad habits are easier to begin, easier to continue. Positive habits are extremely hard. Extremely hard. I don't know why that is, why the brain is wired that way, but why are we not leaning more into that?
No kidding. Yeah. I think you really bring up a good point. I'm looking at my notes. Yeah. I like the part where you said, as long as your work is getting done, that's what should matter. And I think that is the beauty of working remote as well. I get so much done when I'm working in a space, A, that I feel comfortable in, B, have the flexibility to step away for a second, refresh my head, or just go make a cup of coffee, chill for 2 seconds. I love that. Great point.
Well, and everybody's space looks different, right?
Right.
Working remotely for you is at home. And I was talking for me, sometimes I need that. Some days I want to be somewhere else that's giving office, but it's not office at the same
Right.
time. You know, like I need background noise. I want to be around other humans. I need background
Yeah.
people.
Busy.
Yeah, exactly. It's busy. It almost kind of like motivates you a little bit, but it's on a day by day basis. I don't know
Right.
what I need when I need it
Mhm.
until I need it,
Yeah.
you know? So, as an employer, I think that it speaks volumes to your employees that you do trust them and you trust them enough to get their work done while also giving them a little freedom to take care of their personal lives and prioritize themselves for once. For as long as I can remember and as long as I've heard of jobs and of the workplace, I have heard more negatives than positives, more stress. I have always been taught up until recently. I have very healthy conversations with my dad, who is my business partner. He always used to tell me, work at a job 3 to 5 years at the very minimum. And that was rain or shine, right? No matter what. And I think that I naturally gravitated away from that no matter what, because I was like, I can't put myself through this, you know? So, and also if somebody doesn't care about you from a manager's point of view as an employee, you pick up on that right away.
Absolutely.
So you spend more time at work than you do with your family. You want to spend your time around shitty people? I'm swearing a lot in this episode. I'm so sorry. I just feel very passionate about this, and I just wish that people were more open-minded. Again, these are our opinions. I think that working in the office is great. Jen even said that too. But don't dog on the people that prefer working fully remote.
Right.
Or hybrid. That is their choice. And there are benefits to both. That's what we're trying to get across here. So, as I said, I'm a business owner. I completely understand about letting go of control and not knowing what your employees are doing with their time and how they're getting their work done. But at the same time, why does it matter? I don't know what it is. I've only had one employee, which was Jen. And at the same time, it was just like, was it easy? I wouldn't say it was easy, but the reason why I hired Jen and my dad hired Jen and why we just naturally gravitated towards her is because we knew ethically she was a hard worker. She was very kind, open to criticism. I mean, we picked her for her. The work would actually, if she was just freshly out of college, I was going to say high school. She's freshly out of college. She just graduated with her graphic design degree. She doesn't have the chops that a lot of graphic designers do. However, the potential of that paired with how good of a person she was and just how eager she was to learn, that's what business owners should be investing in and how they should be hiring. So that way, you know, the work will come if there's training that needs to be had, whatever. But Jen's a good person. She has our best interest in mind. So in return, it's a good working relationship. So why would I not give her the trust? She has not given me any other reason not to trust her. So it's kind of like up until that point, I'm going to trust her until she proves otherwise. Give people the opportunity. I do think that a lot of employers, they don't even give their employees the chance to mess up because they're micromanaging and they're holding on so tight. It's like, just calm down.
Just chill.
So it's like if they have a meeting and miss it, that's one thing. But if they're making their meetings, meeting their quota, maintaining healthy relationships with you, your clients, and your coworkers, why does it matter?
Amen.
I will say another pro, talking about the employer, because I feel like those are the ones that are kind of harder to convince why remote might be the best. It saves the employer money. People care about money so much these days.
They do?
I guess.
News to
This
me.
is for them, you money hungry people. Having to pay for rent on a physical space, the utilities, the calls if something goes wrong. Let's say that your employee has car trouble. Now they're delayed to get to work. Like there are things that you have to deal with and manage having a physical space. And that only comes with owning or leasing a building. And it's not only stress causing, but it could be money poorly spent that in return could be reallocated to your employees, their health benefits, 401ks, bonuses, whatever else. Pour back into your business with money saved. I think that's huge. Your employees will benefit from it. Your business will grow. people think that doing the right thing and being ethical and having values is a weakness in business, and I think it's a strength. I think it's the alternative. Also, I will end on this. I love the flexibility of working remote. Like Jen touched on, I'm going to touch on the same things. It makes me happy. I am also a very healthy individual now mentally. I talk to my dad about this all the time. I even talk to my boyfriend about it. I've spoken with Jen and my close friends. Working remote, owning my own business, I understand that it is a luxury, but it's a luxury that I'm willing to work hard for, because I have noticed that I don't have to deal with the long-term stressors of work and bring that home with me. Now I can focus on personal relationship issues, my mental health. I can focus on things outside of work. But what do you do when you have a bad day at work? You come home, you need to decompress and kind of vent to the people who are there. And that puts a strain on not only yourself, but your relationships. And I'm not going to say that working remotely would fix that, but you can step away. Maybe you're having a bad day at work, you're having an issue with a coworker, even your boss, and you can actually just be like, you know what, at least I'm not trapped in it.
Right.
At least I'm not physically there taking on all of this physical stress. It's just, it's mental stress, but you have tools at home, because think about you build your home to fit you. You have things there that are going to assist you and aid you when you're having a bad day. If I'm still making deadlines and producing just on my own time and in wherever location I feel fits my personal life needs, I love that I'm able to make doctor's appointments, work from home if I'm sick, instead of having to take sick days because I can't be in the office. One of my last positions I had before I moved here and started this business, I was told that I would have 12 vacation days a year and 10 sick days when I was hired. Within a week and a half of being there, that was changed to 12 vacation and sick days. And I had talked about this before. I had a coworker who was there for 5 years, and she had built up quite a few hours. Her husband was in the military. He was deployed occasionally. She also had 2 kids. And I think she recently had her 3rd kid or something like that. She's a busy woman. She's got a lot going on. So to be stripped of her hours that she had earned for the 5 years and to now only have 12
That's
for
crazy.
vacation. Here's the thing. Also, it was where they said your personal days, if you wanted to take a personal day, that's not a sick day. That's vacation. It doesn't matter because it all comes from the same pot.
Right.
But imagine if you were to have sick days and vacation days. It's almost like, I feel like when it comes to that, it's creating the opportunity and the emotional barrier between you and your employee where they need to lie now. They need to say, I'm not physically sick because you've kind of defined and described what you think physically sick is, but I mentally cannot be here at work. I'm not on vacation. I'm just at home. But now I feel like I need to lie and say, oh, I have the stomach bug. I broke my wrist, whatever. It's like, I think that we need to start reflecting and looking at ourselves as managers, as business owners, and saying, why do my employees feel the need to lie?
Agreed. Completely. That's the root of it.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
And I never will, but also maybe they don't feel comfortable communicating with you, which is another topic.
Yeah.
But I will say, when you don't trust your employees, that's where that comes in. And again, like I said, we can talk about that in another episode, but I just feel like remote truly does have more positives than negatives.
Agreed.
So I don't think that it needs to be permanent or the necessary option for businesses and companies to switch to, but I do think that everybody should be open-minded to it and appreciate it for its pros, because they outweigh the cons 10-1, in my opinion.
I would agree completely. And I mean, I'm sure there's other things that we haven't talked about, or like we mentioned earlier, this is just what we experienced. I'm sure there's other people that might have a negative experience working remotely, but I can say confidently for both of us, it's very much impacted our mental health, physical health, and overall happiness and well-being greatly. And I'm very thankful that I'm in a hybrid position.
Yeah, I'm thankful you are too. I'm very appreciative of the position that I'm in. Again, I never wanted to go and said that I don't not understand that this is a privilege where I'm sitting right now, the things that I have. However, I do want to tell myself like I've earned this. I feel like I am happy that I have the perspective I do, because when we do hire employees in the future, or if we do, I do think that having worked in the office, if I do grant, a hybrid or remote position to my employees or our employees, which I hope we do, it's just, you never know. I can't promise something, right?
Right.
But I just think that I have a better understanding because I know what it's like to be on such a tight leash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like working full time in an office can do. And truthfully, like the law is not on your side. In North Dakota, they always say that business law, or, however you want to, I'm not sure like what exactly that's called, but they always say that the law is on the side of the business owner, not the latter. I've heard a lot of things too with this recently. It's not a traditional business sense, but with people who lease homes or rent homes out, they technically have to have an LLC to do that. So if somebody owns a home and they're like, hey, I'm going to rent it, so you're a tenant, they sign a lease with the LLC that you've created. I've seen so many issues with people withholding the deposit that the tenants have put in, waiting too long, whatever it may be. They will have laws specifically written out that say, as of 21 days, if you have not received anything as a tenant, like that's not okay. Like you need to get this then. And then if you don't get this by this time, then you get your whole deposit back. Like there are rules written and set in place. And then in North Dakota, I just had a friend who had an issue with this. She actually went to small claims court, took this lady because she lost almost $1,000 and then needed to pay more on top of that for damages. And I'm saying that in quotes.
Yeah.
Because the damages were cracked sidewalk. What? Do you think that is my fault that the sidewalk is cracked?
Do we think we're just walking out there with like a hammer? And...
No, I know. And then there was an attic too. The light was broken.
Totally.
Outside.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My fault.
Missing screens that she did not take out. Needless to say, they went in front of a judge. The judge was so unbelievably rude and did not rule in her favor, I believe.
Wow.
And she had everything. I mean, printed law. And they took the business owner's side.
Wow.
So, watch out for yourself. But as a business owner, like, do better.
Yeah.
Rant over.
I think that's important to bring up, though. You bring up a lot of different perspectives, and I enjoyed listening to that.
Thank you for listening. I know you had no choice, but
I'm here.
I'm just here.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing statements?
No. I love working remotely. I also love working in person.
Yeah.
I've said this multiple times in this episode, but it truly is a blessing because I feel like I have a little bit more time back in my day and I have more time to focus, or I have more time to do whatever I need to do. And who's going to complain about that?
Yeah. And who cares? You're working. You're getting your stuff done.
Yeah.
UWS is blessed to have you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any final remarks?
Nothing about the topic, just about next week's episode. Jen will not be here.
Yep.
So, undecided about what the topic will be, who will be here, who will not be here.
Ooh.
But we're working on something.
Yeah.
So, tune in for a surprise next Friday. We will see you then. We love you.
Yeah.
Goodbye, good night.
Okay, smoochies, goodbye.